Hello and welcome everyone to Shift Talk. My name's Chad, and with me as always is the Gregson. Mr. Greg, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing well, sir. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. It would be nice if you know, uh,
Technology?
yeah, we're back to having technological bugs that are
Of
pissing me
course.
off.
Yeah, but we
Uh,
are good. We're here. We're going to talk cars. And yeah, it's going to be fun.
yes, it is.
We'll ignore technology for the most part.
Greg,
Other
just
than,
you're gonna have to. Oh my gosh, show. There we go.
we're going to have to what?
Just tell us about your day and your love for all things Volvo and things of that nature while I have to relog into everything apparently.
You got it. So once upon a time, I woke up and cars.
Actually talk
The
about
end.
cars, you dingleberry.
We have a good show for you today. We are going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff. Uh, in car related, it's going to be a lot of motorsports. It's going to be a lot of news. I actually have a rant today instead of Chad, who's our resident ranter, which is really good because usually I don't rant. Usually I'm very logical in my responses, but there's one thing I saw today that absolutely ground my gears to no end and has nothing to do with gears. So uh, let that ruminate in your mind brain for a while before we talk about it. We have a good uh, versus, not necessarily argument, but more of a which are you more excited for two cars that are upcoming. And then we're going to talk some motorsports stuff with the Chadson Motorsports Corner. Um, we got to name it. We have to like give it a name. The Gregson Memorial Chadson Motorsports Corner because it's got to have its Chadson at the end of it, which is going to be great. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a good show. But otherwise, we have otherwise everything else is good. We don't have a lot of anything crazy in our lives right now, which is kind of a nice thing. We do have my Volvo behind me, which, as most of you know, is a V60 Polestar. It is nothing insane, but it is very fun. I took it out on some back roads today. You know, the kids are in camp right now, and I had to drive them to camp this week, and then they get going to their other camp next week. But there's a lot of like little fun roads by me, and I opened it up a little bit, and man, when the weather warms up and this thing gets on a back road, it is. I'm reminded how much or how fun it is. So I said in a reel this week that there's going to be another Camaro coming out. It's four door, and when Chevy makes four door performance cars, cough cough SS, aka Holden, um, they're good. They're always really good. Like especially the SS, which I've driven in both automatic and manual form. Manual being the preferred option there. And man, that SS, it's really stuck with me. It's a great car. Performance wise, sound wise, it's a really solid car. And I've considered selling my car for that car many times over because hey, it's four doors, it's a V8 with a manual. It's not much you can't like about that. So the new Camaro's coming out. It's going to have four doors, and rumor has it it's going to have a manual, and rumor has it it's going to have a V8 because, of course, it will. Just how potent a V8 is going to be the real question. And I guess the next thing, if slash when it does come out with a V8 and a manual, because we're not 100% confirmed on that yet, is at that time, what's it going to cost, and do I trade in this thing for that? Because honestly, that sounds pretty good. Also, Ford said that they're going to potentially expand the Mustang line to be a four door. And we talked about this the other week. You know, Mustang, four door, manual, V8, God forbid, a wagon. I'm also sold on that. And we're gonna have a four-door Charger, probably with a V8 very soon too. Probably not a manual with that one, but there is potential for us to have three four-door American super sedans, with two of them being manuals in the not too distant future. And quite frankly, that sounds freaking awesome. So I'm very much here for it, and I hope it happens sooner rather than later. How was that speaking, good Chadson? Was that enough time for you?
Yeah, it was enough.
Perfect.
I don't know. I had long and short of it is on all of my back end stuff. Like I had to relog into YouTube.
Lovely.
So that was an annoyance.
And dog.
So yeah, like, and then a whole bunch of other stuff. But yeah, no, we're good. Here's the thing: front engine V8s, rear wheel drive, good.
Yeah.
Like, we talked about
Hell
the
yeah.
Camaro a little bit. We talked about the Mustang potentially in the four-door Mustang type of thing last week, and how if we're getting performance-oriented cars, even if it's not quote unquote the traditional route, we should be excited for it because nobody's making performance-oriented cars that are affordable. Like you could make the argument that the Mustang's drifting away from affordability in certain respects, but by the same token, it's still 30 grand cheaper than the cheapest. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's still cheaper than the cheapest Camaro or Corvette. Jesus fucking Christ! Speak well, words, Chad.
Good English words, Dr. Shakalu.
Yeah, really. So like that stuff's like all like, and not for nothing, it gets the rivalry going again. Like, because basically Camaro left the chat, and
Charger went electric,
and then the Charger. The Camaro left by its own volition. The Challenger left by execution, and not the off with their head kind. You made a Charger that doesn't have a V8. Cool. So the Mustang's been by itself, and I've said this from the beginning about the potential of the return of the Camaro, even before we started actually talking about the return of the Camaro. In the sense that the Mustang needs competition just to keep it in check, to keep it away from bloating in price like it has been.
Yeah, true.
And that sort of stuff. So we need we need Mopar to get their crap together. We need Chevy to come back, and it looks like they are. So I am very, very much here for it. And then we got Alicia and Joseph in chat. What's up, dude and dudette? How are we doing?
That's right. Alicia keeping the demographics high. Appreciate that.
Yes. Dear advertisers, girls watch. Well, I can't confirm that. Girl watches this show.
No, we have girls. We have our Aussie friends. So
this is true.
We have multiple. They just might be on at the same time,
or in the same time zone,
correct?
Or the same continent, or using the same currency. I'm really not selling this, am I?
No. Hey, it's fine. It's total demographics, not on at the same time demographics.
We are for long and short of it, we are global in this piece. And just real quick before we really wanted to dive, Alicia went to a cruise, saw The Exorcist is the Hennessy tuned Camaro, if memory serves, where they just put I think it's a bigger supercharger, smaller pulley on an ZL1 and send it, which is awesome.
I think they got like 1,000 out of it, basically.
Yeah, no upgrades to the suspension or brakes, which is fantastic.
No, there you go. Although, let's be honest, the ZL1's a pretty potent package as it is from factory. Yeah. They probably could have beefed stuff up, but you don't really need to improve on a ZL1. It's pretty much as track ready as the Z28 was when that was out. So,
I mean, different horses for different courses, but yes. you
From
know,
factory, I mean.
and it made some horsepower. It was under 700. But bless Chevy, they were trying.
Yeah.
Um, Joseph goes, Toyota needs to bring back the Super Celica, the 82 to 86 version. That was basically a Toyota Fox body. Fun fact, uh, Toyota never intended the Supra to be what it is now. It was intended to be Japan's pony car. The Mustang was very much inspired by it. So that's a very apt description.
Yeah.
I personally would just say, this could be its own topic in and of itself. But I really wish we could get back to an era where 300 to 350 horsepower sports cars were, I don't want to say prevalent, but available again.
Yes.
Because that's a pretty easy horsepower number to hit by any manufacturer. So it wouldn't cost a ton to develop. There wouldn't be the giga horsepower wars. And then and then just have a fun car. Because, yeah, you could sit here and say that the EcoBoost Mustang fits that bill. No. Or the 6-cylinder this or the 6-cylinder that, like that sort of thing. We have new chatter, Sawyer. Welcome, my dude.
What's up, Sawyer?
And he asks about what do we think about the new Mustang concept with 4 doors. The short version of that is, as we actually just mentioned this, but the short version of that story is performance cars. Companies aren't making them anymore. So if having a 4-door Mustang to go alongside a 4-door Camaro fighting eventually Mopar getting their crap together with a 4-door V8 Charger, the Ford and the Chevy coming with manuals, that's a win for us as enthusiasts. We shouldn't sit here and say Mustang and Camaro should only be 2 doors. Anything else is a sacrilege and like
they took our jobs. No, we don't need that right now.
We were leaning on there was very real doubt about when the Camaro was coming out about it potentially being a crossover and people not laughing that off as an impossibility.
Yeah. So the fact that we're potentially getting V8s and 4 doors, celebrate that. Big fan.
Yeah. So I'm here for it. And like Greg said last week, what's not to like about a 4-door sports sedan and potentially we just get rid of the trunk and make it a little hatchier. What's not to love about a potential Coyote powered wagon?
Yeah. If they make a Mustang wagon, there will be a second mortgage out on my home, and I will buy that. I will sell all of the things. I have a shed out back. I would be more than happy to sell and everything inside of it to make this happen.
And I mean, who needs 2 kidneys?
Exactly. And just black market a kidney. Fine.
But let's just see here. But
I would unload the taps.
But since we are talking about the Camaro right now, I figured this Joe goes, God, yes, give me a shooting break for America. Hell yeah. It's high time.
That's
right. We got another Nomad. But like I was saying, since we're talking about the Camaro, now this is a work in progress, but I figure we got, get you guys feedback on it. I'm not sure about the text and how it would appear to you guys because the preview I get is kind of tiny. And from that kind of tiny preview, doesn't look the best, but at any rate, we have a new graphic that hopefully makes watching the show a little bit easier.
Yeah. PTI style.
Yes, with no timer, and I still haven't gotten the first take style mute button, and like what I would really like is to make it like a macro where it's like Alt SQ mutes Greg and brings up the mute graphic on Greg at the same time.
Yes. I
But
like it.
oh god, what am I doing? That doesn't look too bad on a bigger screen, but you guys can let me
Eh,
know if that looks how that looks. Like I said, it's a work in progress, so we'll leave it up for there. But as you can see from there, what the hell does a Camaro have to do with a Lamborghini? Well, Greg,
yes.
there's a new Lamborghini that's been spotted testing.
Yes.
Um,
I can give you the knowledge on the things that is highlighted. So allow me to do so. So
Fantabulous.
we just talked about the new Camaro. There is one coming out. We have um we have confirmation about that from GM Authority. And by the way, GM Authority is an authority about all things GM. They are a good website and they've been very right about a lot of things, speculation wise. So we know Camaro's coming out. They're the ones that reported that it's going to be a potential manual. There's going to be a bevy of different V8 options. It's going to be a four door. And now they're saying there's going to be a spicy variant, which is awesome. That's probably going to have a supercharger. What spicy means when you say V8. So, especially from factory. So that's probably going to be a thing. Um, I think that uh, the Camaro is going to be something that's really cool. On the other side of the pond, over in Italia, we have the new Lamborghini. Now, what new Lamborghini is it, you may ask? Well, it's the Lamborghini Revuelto. And when I say that, you might be thinking, wait, that's been out for 2 years now. And I would say, yes, good viewer, handsome, smart viewer, you are very correct. It has been out for 2 years. But when Lambo brings out a model, what do they usually do 2 years after it's been out? Well, they give it an upgrade. They give it a front fascia facelift. They do other things, and they bring out the spicy models because the Revuelto SV is about to come out. SV, of course, standing for Super Veloce, which means very fast. It doesn't exactly mean that. It's just the fast version. But it's been spotted with some upgrades in the aero department, some new front end goodies. It has a rear wing, and there's probably going to be some other stuff, maybe some like brake duct ventings on the front fenders. Who knows? It's all camouflaged. It's hard to see at this point based on what's going on. But these are two very different performance machines. One, a former two-door that's probably going to be a four-door coming out with a V8, American muscle. And two, an Italian supercar that is going to be a sort of track-focused version of a supercar, the Revuelto, with a V12. And as you can see from the graphic, new Camaro versus new Lambo, what are you more excited for? So now that I've sort of teed that up, Chad, why don't you answer the question first? Which are you more excited for? The Lambo, the Revuelto SV, or the Camaro with four doors, a V8, a manual transmission, and a potential supercharger? Muted.
I'm fucking with you. I was just miming.
I know.
Um,
I figured that. I figured that one. Like as I started to shake my head, I'm like, oh wait, nope, he's screwing with me.
a- as is as is tradition. Look, at no point is anyone ever going to be cross shopping, regardless of how spicy the Camaro is. A Lamborghini, like it's like, I have untold millions of dollars. Should I get this Lamborghini Revuelto SV, or should I get this Chevy, or should I get 12 Chevy Camaro SSs? Hmm. Um, it's not that. It's just more of like we live on the internet, right? Like, well, not live on
Yeah.
it, but like for what we do, we spend a sizable amount of time on the internet. And it's one of those things where like every time you see something new Camaro, new Mustang, new Lamborghini, it's all about hype.
Yep.
And you immediately sit here and think, "Oh, that's kind of cool," or "Oh, yeah, well, whatever." When it comes out, whenever that is, I guess I'll look at it and whatever. And that's kind of what I am with the Revolto, is that it's fantastic. It makes 1,000 horsepower with a V12 and a hybrid system. And that's, you know, that's kick ass because V12, like you said in your reel, the V12 may not have made it to this car. However, hybridization I think gave it a quote unquote stay of execution kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So it needs the hybrid to stick around. So I kind of get that. Otherwise, they're going to go and Ferrari themselves, and it's like, look, it's 120-degree V angle, twin turbo, hot V V6. Yay! Don't care.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But from a certain what car? Like, let me put it to you this way: if by some, let's just say hypothetically, the Revuelto SV reveal is over in this auditorium, and the new Camaro reveal is over on this auditorium, and I can only go to one. They're happening at exactly the same time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go towards the Camaro one because I don't know. Like, I am definitely in the minority here. I'm definitely, and this isn't like financial copium where I'm never going to be able to afford the Lambo, so why bother? It's not that. It's that the super hypercar, whatever space, has become so insane, whether it be from just a purely performance standpoint that you're never ever going to be able to use on the road, nor are the vast majority of these owners ever going to use it on a track. To the price points of them, to the like, the engineering has gotten so crazy out of control that they're just. Is it awesome that we live in an era where we can have this 1,000 horsepower thing and that's even faster, more than 1,000 horsepower thing that follow it? Yes, but it's just like, I don't know. Like, as everyone here knows, I'm a big fan of the Mustang. In the Pony Car Wars, I'm a Mustang guy. I'm by no means a Ford or ride or die because I like certain Mopars and I like certain Chevys. However, for me, the idea of Chevy kind of getting their crap together, bringing back the Camaro nameplate, that's intriguing because Ford showed them the groundwork, right? You have EcoBoost, GT, Dark Horse SC, GTD, right? Like, and how many of those things are Camaro going to tick off? They're probably not going to go GTD because, that's why the Corvette exists. Duh. They may but they still can get to the SC. The LS6, I'm really interested to see what they do with that platform because I'm really both Chevy and the aftermarket because 13-to-1 is a lot of compression. Now there's a difference between static and dynamic compression, so that could just be static, but in dynamic senses, we could be talking 12 or what have you. I haven't looked enough into the engine to know for certain. But what I do know is it's got forged internals. So what I do know, the 535 horsepower and torque with 10 PSI, that thing's making well over 700 wheel, even through a 10-speed automatic, which I'm guessing would be the automatic that they're going to throw in it because, well, they jointly developed it with Ford. But I'm really interested to see with that engine. The only downside is that unlike every other Camaro engine that has ever existed, apart from, I guess, the obvious 4 and 6 cylinders because nobody wants them. Although no, that's Ford I'm thinking of. Every other V8 has been a crate engine option, and there's no LS6 crate engine option at the moment, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, like I said, I'm really curious to see how that engine performs because it's got a cubic inch that starts with a 4, which, hells yeah, we're back to I can sit here and sing the Coyote's praises and how great of an engine is and how it does X, Y, and Z. On the other side of the equation, the LS, the LT platform, there's something to be said about that good old-fashioned American way of developing horsepower, not through making the engine any better whatsoever, just adding cubic inches. Now you add in the fact that it's got high compression, trick and heads on it, so it should flow really, really well. Remains to see how well they'll flow if you go too high in the horsepower range because LTs, which are also direct injection engines from GM, once you hit a certain horsepower threshold, you have to run port injection, and then those heads are very limited. But we're talking about the 0.001% of engine builds. So there's so many things that I'm stoked about it because Mustang rival, it's tunability, The fact that there's gonna be some random dude on the internet who figures out, hey, if I slap a supercharger or a twin turb skis to this thing, I'm making way more horsepower than that Lambo engine uh, on internal combustion alone. And to me, that's the stuff that kind of gets me moving, gets me going, gets me excited about cars. Um, is the Lambo cool? Yes, but to me it's more of a finished product. Whereas like Mustangs, Camaros, and stuff, there's room on there's meat on the bone. You can do stuff to them and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
How about you? You're one of them Euro suasion guys.
So it's probably going to be very surprising to you, but I am also excited for the Camaro because it's something that you said. It is um it's actually obtainable and attainable. The Revuelto is cool. Don't get me wrong. It is extremely cool. It is one of those cars where you're like, man, that's an aspirational car. That is one that I see and I want to work harder to make more money to get it. The Camaro is also that car, but something you might actually be able to attain within your lifetime. So for me, that's more intriguing and more exciting. And if I'm not that same car show for you, that you and your hypothetical, I'm going to the Camaro because I want to see, and I have a different use case. Like I have kids, I have a family, so I'm like, oh, I wonder what it's like in the back. How's the leg room? What's the storage like? Is this something that I can use daily? Is it something that is going to fit my needs as a daily driver? Because let's be honest, that's daily driver territory. It's not just a performance car territory. Same as the SS. SS can be a performance car, can also be a great daily. So in that sense, for me, I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. And the Revuelto, while technologically very cool, a very awesome looking car, it doesn't really interest me in that sense. I have come to the conclusion that for supercars, I like things that are always 5 to 10 years old. So when the Revuelto hits 5 to 10 years old, I'll probably be way more interested in it. Same thing that goes for the Aventador right now. When it came out, I was like, fine, cool. Lambo V12 sounds glorious, love it. Now I see an Aventador, and I'm like, that's the coolest thing ever. It has angles. It has screaming V12 with an exhaust. It has a screaming V12 otherwise, but with an exhaust, it sounds like an F1 car. And like same thing with the Murcielago. I did not like the Murcielago at all when it came out. And then, the Aventador came out and I looked at the Murcielago and I'm just like, oh, Murcielago looks really cool now. So it's very much, I think it's very much the Subaru WRX owner in me in that sense, where no one likes the new one. And then 10 years later, everyone likes that new one. So to me, that's very much how I feel about Lambos. That being said, and all of that said, if this were a comparison between Lamborghini and Ferrari, I would be very much in the Revuelto camp. But that's not the conversation we're having. It's more about the Camaro versus Lambo. Lambo, I think, is stomping on Ferrari as far as Italian supercar makers to go right now, because what Lambo's bringing out versus what Ferrari's bringing out is diametrically opposed at this point. And quite frankly, Lambo has the upper hand in that sense. And I would much rather, if I had the money, I would much rather buy a Lambo than a Ferrari. Probably 10 times over with different models. I don't think that there is a modern Ferrari past the 458 that I would be like, yep, I need that. Whereas there are at least 10 modern Lambos where I'm like, I could own all of these from like the 2000s and up. And then of course is different models. Like Murcielago SV, Gallardo Superleggere, like different versions because they don't have like 15 different models. But I would much rather own Lambos than Ferraris, to be quite frank. With all of that said, I think um, I think the Camaro is going to be more exciting overall, just because people can actually get it, and that's sort of the camp that I'm in. So, and also if it's good, if it's decently affordable, and it has a V8 and it's got four doors, maybe I end up getting one eventually. I'm not sure I'll be able to afford it right off the bat, but you know, once they go second year, get some leases in there, 2 or 3 years down the line, might be attainable and still within warranty. So for me, I'm very much in the Camaro camp on this one for sure.
Yeah, and not for nothing, if you're obviously my friend. Uh, I would tell you, I would advise, as much as it would be cool to have you have like to have two V8s on the channel and have that sort of natural rivalry and things like that. Um, I would advise you as my. Here's the thing: that LS6 is a really cool engine.
Yeah.
I have concerns. So when is it debuting in the Corvette? For the next year's model run?
I think, yeah, 2027. Yep.
So the good news is that we're going to find out really, really quick what its weak points are.
Yeah.
The thing I'm most concerned with that level of compression on the engine is similar to what the Gen 3 Coyotes were looking at with 12 to 1 is the compression rings, or not the compression rings, the piston rings.
Mm.
And whether or not they're going to be up to the task or what have you. I'm not saying they won't be, but one of the things most car people will always tell you, and something Greg will probably tell you, is you don't buy the first year.
Yep. 100% correct.
So that's the only thing. Like, I want it to be successful, so I'm not saying don't buy it. What I'm also saying is that, you know, there may be a might want to look at the warranty. Just because, like,
yeah. I agree with you on that because Chevy and GM have not had a great track record with a lot of their modern V8s. So I'm thinking, I'm thinking that it is definitely going to be sort of a wait and see scenario with this one. I'm very hopeful, but that's part of the reason why I said yes. Let's do the 2 to 3 years off lease thing. Because then it'll get another model year under its belt. They'll probably iron out most of the issues. It will still be under warranty, and then, Bob's your uncle. You'll end up getting a great deal on one 2 to 3 years out, and it will be quite excellent in that sense. So we'll see. I am very hopeful, and I'm interested to see what happens. I hope it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's going to be really hard for them to mess it up.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility, because OEMs mess crap up all the time that you don't think. Cough, cough, Mopar, Stellantis, Charger, cough, cough. Because they have an existing platform that has a V8 in it already, right? With the CT5.
Yeah.
They're going to have that motor in the Corvette for a couple years before the Camaro comes out. So you have a vetted chassis, which, again, doesn't need to have every single possible potential bell and or whistle on it to be good.
Right.
And so, like, in theory, they should hit the ground running, because theoretically the chassis, that's an older chassis. It's been vetted. It shouldn't have any issues. The engine, have been around for a couple years, and we'll start to really know the limitations of those motors and stuff like that fairly soon. So like I said, I'm excited for it. Like I've never been. There's very select Camaros that I'm even remotely interested in, and it has nothing to do with me being a Mustang guy or me hating the Mustang, because right, like, or me loving the Mustang, therefore the Camaro and Challenger are shit. I like them for what they are. I think certain, what was it, the Gen 6? The last generation of Camaro, I think, looked really, really good. Uh, it's just, I don't know. It's, I've always, the thing is I've always liked the way the Mustangs drove a little bit better. I've liked the way the Challengers have looked a little bit better. It's all personal preference. Um, the F body, I look, um, is the F body going to go down in history as the best looking Camaro Firebird combination? No.
Thunder Cougar Falconbird.
The what you call it? The catfish Camaros, right? But I think those, if done in a certain way, not for nothing, the Trans Am and the racing versions of those with the wide body on them do not look terrible. Granted, again, even the split bumper Camaros, when done right, look good.
Yeah.
I don't even. The 5th gen Camaros looked good when they first came out, but I think they didn't age well.
Agree. The first versions of them are very they're very I don't know, and this is very on the nose. They're very Transformers because of how it was in that movie, and that movie has not aged great in the car sense. It's aged well in the movie sense, but the cars in it, I'm just like, these are not great. And the Bumblebee first, the Gen 5, I guess we would call it Gen 5-1, or did they have a fascia lift in Gen 5, or was it just they went right to Gen 6? I forget.
I can't say for absolute certainty, but I'm pretty sure when the facelift coincided with Gen
6, right?
With Gen 6.
I mean, but Gen 5 was like, it was one of those things where it's just like, oh, cool, it's retro, and it was immediately out of print, if you will. The same thing happened with the Charger, and it was like, cool. What else you got? And then they came out with the next version. You're like, that's better. Same thing with the Camaro. That's much better.
And how? I mean, Sawyer goes, they were awesome. You couldn't see out of the back. There was one, I think, technically a Gen 5.5. Yeah. Again, Camaro is not my whatever you want to call it. Camaro is not my. It's not that it's not my cup of tea. It's not my area of expertise, right? Like,
yeah.
Because, like I said, I've never owned one. Here's the funny thing. I thought for a long time it'd be cool to get an F body and put not a V8 in it, or like initially I wanted to do a 2J in one, and then Cooper Bogetti did that in his race car. It's like, I don't want to like vibe jack him.
Yeah.
And then I looked at like, here's the thing though. F body Trans Am, specifically with the Ram Air. I get down with that. Absolutely. I'd really like the look of those. I want to play around with one of those. They are really, really cool to me. I would love to get my hands on one and put like an LS7 in one, just because I think that would be insane. Like a
I mean, that's the best LS, honestly. Let's be honest. Like that thing is crazy, and one of the that engine's part of the whole reason you get a C6. Let's be honest.
Yes, and I also think it's cool that you could take the LS platform and you could bore them out to 454, which has some ties to the Trans Am lineage um, from back in the day. So uh, that like that has me like, and I don't know if it's because there hasn't been another Trans Am since, but that's the F body I've messed with. Let's see here.
Yeah.
Joe goes, the Bay Area into 2000s had a guy that built a WS6. It had a Mercury Marine boat motor in it. Hell yeah. Those Merc, oh my gosh, like you've unlocked the new Mercury Marine and some of the stuff they're doing with and it's not even a new thing, right? Like if you know Mercury Marine, you know that they've been doing this for a very, very long time. They actually had a hand. They were the ones who mass produced the overhead cam ZR1 engine in the C4.
Yep.
So like they've been doing it forever, but I love the fact that they are I don't know if they released it. I did a video on it. I haven't done my internet due diligence in checking on it. But they were going to release a dual overhead cam excuse me, sorry. They were going to release dual overhead cams for the LS platform. 4 valve per cylinder. Which is pretty freaking epic because now you not only have the what's it called? You don't not only have the cubic inch advantage that LSs have over, say, like a Coyote platform, but you also have the what the hell is the word I'm looking for? Sorry, I shouldn't be
No,
trying
you're
to do
fine.
what I'm doing in the background while I'm
Words.
talking.
You can words.
But like you have a head that flows a shit ton of air. Not to say LS heads can't. I'm not trying to sit here and say that, but just like to me that's crazy cool. Like, oh, what engine do
Yeah.
you have? Oh, it's an LS. Oh, yeah, but it's got 4 cams. What? You know.
Yeah.
So that's something that's really really quite cool for me. But what did I screwed something up, didn't I? Nope, I didn't. All right, cool. At any rate,
Yeah.
let's see here. Whipple makes a supercharger for that Merc that's larger in displacement than most engines. Yep.
Yeah. Catch up with chat. I'll be right back, and then we'll go into our next topic where I'm going to have a fairly epic rant.
Fantastic.
Be right back.
What's going on? Why isn't this working? Let's see here. Solo JC. What is happening? Sorry, guys. Hold on 1 second. Let's just do this. Huzzah! Are we taking bets if he breaks the stream? I would, but I don't want to. Like, it's already... The stream is already... how do I put this? It already has quirks tonight. So... I don't have the patience, I guess. Back to Joe's point about the super. Yeah, I mean, Whipple makes some pretty massive freaking superchargers. I think there's a 3.8 liter that you could put on, among other things, I'm guessing, based on it just differs on the manifold. The Elephant engines, the 426 cubic inch Gen 3 Hemis that is an engine I want to play with NA. In something. I don't know what yet. I don't know if I'd want to do it in a late model Challenger. But something. That's a swap I want to. That's absolutely a swap I want to play with. For the simple fact that if you haven't picked up, I like big displacement American V8 engines. I do a lot. Which also makes it slightly odd that the Coyote is like my favorite engine at the moment. I wouldn't say favorite engine. It's just the engine I have at the moment. You know, I would have gone down a deep LS rabbit hole if I had, say, a C6 Corvette. You know, if I had a Challenger, I'd be going down a deep Gen 3 Hemi rabbit hole. It's just the engine I have at the moment. And I do think it's really, really cool what that engine can produce with the displacement it has. Especially as I start to look at, as I've been looking at like short blocks and things of that nature and all that. Because, you know, so having had the supercharged one, having had the, having going the route I'm going now, to be within 100 horsepower of that boosted engine, potentially, 100, within 150 horsepower, probably. NA, it's cool to me. Have something that is going to be knocking on the door of, well, the goal is over 600 horsepower NA to the crank. That's roughly, on the dyno we use, somewhere between 540 and 560 wheel. Every dyno's different. When the Mustang's finished, I'm going to do a video that shows it. I'm lucky enough to have two companies within relatively short distance of each other, both of which we've dealt with, both of which have dynos that, again, are 15 minutes away from each other. And I'm definitely going to put that to the test. Same day, same weather conditions, hopefully. And, you know, as a demonstration on how your dyno isn't the 1.8 horsepower per cube. Close. If I have my way, if I can make it work, if I can figure it out how to make it work, we'll be adding 10% to the Coyote's displacement. At least. In a dream scenario where all of the partners come together and say, that's cool, we're in, don't worry about it, we got you. Potentially 349, 352 cubic inch is a possibility. Not likely. That involves a lot more machining. And when you involve machining, price for this particular build doubles almost. And I don't have that kind of cheddar. But yeah, you're close there. Thank you for letting us live vicariously. Oh yeah, I mean, that's kind of my goal with the build videos and what was going to be some of the Mustang content I had planned before the first one caught fire. And the second one, I am literally sitting on probably 4 videos where, maybe not that much. Somewhere between 2 and 4 videos worth of footage that I have taken of the black Mustang, the new Mustang. Well, new to me. Sort of. It's been a year and a half, 2 years. That's actually been 2 years. A little over 2 years. I just got that Facebook notification not too long ago. I have a bunch of videos, and then, of course, it broke. And I don't like leaving things unanswered, unfinished, with an unknown cliffhanger, if that makes any sense, right? Like, I didn't want to produce a bunch of content and say, the engine's cooked, I'll see you in Question mark? Like when I did the build series on the first Mustang, I literally was 5 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks. That was 5 to 6 weeks behind. So I could launch every single video of the build series in succession every week because I feel like that's better for the viewer. In that, for the next 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, you're getting a video and it's going to have a ending. It's going to have some form of ending, right? And I think that series ended with Greg driving the car and then me driving Greg in that car. I drove the
Yep.
Polestar on that same day. I've lost the footage. And that video never came out.
Yes.
So yeah. That's me again. There we go. So yeah. That's where the Mustang is. I'm excited. Like I said, there's basically 3 levels to it, and it's really going to depend on whether or not I can get partners as excited as I am. I do have some people who have offered to help out with it, and that's going to go pretty decent ways for certain things. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because all of those conversations are happening probably at some point in July, mid to late July. And then who knows from there, because if all goes according to plan, it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks to get an engine built.
Yep.
So I'll definitely keep you guys posted. We may have some people coming on the show who are going to be a part of that project. I'm not sure yet.
Yes.
But in any rate, Greg is back.
Everybody, I am.
Joe has welcomed you back.
Hello, Joe, and thank you for the warm welcome back to the show.
So now it is time for us to move on to topic number 2 of the day.
Yes.
And the Gregson rant. But before you start to rant, Greg.
Yes.
Actually, you can rant whenever you want.
But you go first.
No, I kind of know what you're going to talk about. I kind of don't know what you're going to talk about. It's kind of one of those things to me where it's just people over-smarting themselves. Over-smarting, being too smart for their own good.
No, I like the term over-smarting. That's way better.
But why don't you go ahead and lay the silky smooth foundation, and then I will be right back.
All right, sounds good. So, this is something that sort of caught my eye today. My internet not my internet, but my browser is just like not cooperating at all with me right now. But basically,
and you don't break the stream. Imagine how that. He can't even get his own computer to work, chat.
Hey, shut up and leave already. Get out of here. So there are certain things that car manufacturers like to put into cars that we don't really need a lot of the time, and they say it's at the it's at the foot of the bed of progress, if you will. We want to add this to you because it's progress. We know that you want this in your car, and blah blah blah. But it is not the case with a lot of things. A great example of this is BMW recently. They wanted to charge you for what? Heated seats, and everyone was up in arms, and they said, oh no, they're not doing that. So now they've let the news sort of settle a bit. They're 100% still thinking about doing that, and quite frankly, so is the rest of the automotive industry, because we are so ingrained in subscription culture right now with Hulu and Netflix and Sirius XM and blah blah blah, that they are about to charge you for everything in your car. But that's not necessarily the news we have here. It's not another subscription thing. It is, however, something dumb. And Mercedes has a car. It's called the CLA. And specifically, this one is the CLA 350. It's a small electric sedan. It is not the most hideous thing in the world. shockingly, considering how Mercedes has been designing their EVs. It is not attractive either. However, it is also technologically advanced inside. It has lots of screens, way too many, in my opinion. The entire dashboard is just a screen, essentially. And it has 3 of them, one in front of you, one to the right in the center stack, and one all the way to the right on the passenger side. It is literally a full screen in front of you. But that is also not what I'm talking about here. However, it is actually to do with the steering wheel. Because on the steering wheel of most modern cars, what's there? We have controls. We have cruise control. We have the radar guided cruise control if you have a car that has that. You have different things that you can cycle through for options menus. There's usually a little wheel or an up and down arrow. And there's also volume controls on your steering wheel to and left and right, next track buttons, right? So those are supremely helpful, especially when you have a car that has Bluetooth or you're connected through your phone, you're listening to Spotify and you need to go to the next track, you need to go up and down with the volume for anything. Supremely helpful. In their infinite wisdom, Mercedes has decided that you don't need those on your steering wheel. And they are going to give it to you in the form of voice control. Now, that all sounds well and good. However, when you look at the steering wheel and you look at all the controls on it, especially the Mercedes one, and when Chad comes back, he'll put the picture up of the steering wheel itself. There's a lot of stuff on here. So I get why they're trying to eliminate some of the things from the steering wheel. There's 4 little prongs coming off the center of the airbag, where the airbag sits right in the middle of the steering wheel, and the silver, the 3-point silver arrows in the middle, the Mercedes actual logo. That's where you push the horn. That's where the airbag is. Right off of that is 4 prongs, and on each of those prongs, there's different controls. So I understand why they're trying to eliminate some of the stuff. There's a lot on there, to be honest. However, the volume control of your radio is one of those things where you do not need voice control. There are no other buttons in this cockpit that give you volume control other than on the screen. So you have to go into the screen to get to your volume control. There's no other physical button in this cabin that has volume control on it. So in their infinite wisdom, they had decided to say, we're going to take volume control and track control and radio control and make it voice activated. So you're in the middle of a song and you're rocking out and you want to turn it up. You have to say, hey, Mercedes, turn it up. The song pauses. It lets or lowers the volume to hear what you need to say, and then it turns it up. Not only that, but you have to know the volume control and the volume it's on. It's like, Mercedes, turn to volume 10 or turn to volume 7 or turn to volume 6, whatever. You have to know what it's on to then go up. You then also have to say, hey, Mercedes, turn it down. Hey, Mercedes, volume 5. Like, you know what would be really helpful instead of that? A button to turn it down or a knob to turn it down. So many things can be helpful with voice control. We have an Amazon Alexa. It's great. It's voice controlled. It helps us to tell stories to the kids. It gets to our Spotify in our house. We can order stuff through Amazon. It's great. Excuse me. Tired. But you know what? That's great voice control, and that's great talking. You know what? Also, those things have, it has a plus and a minus for volume control, even though it's voice activated. So what Mercedes is doing here is essentially taking away an essential function of the steering wheel and of the car, because it's not just about volume for your radio. It's about volume for your voice is for your calls. Say you're on a call in your car and you need to turn it up. Well, how does that work? You're on a work call, driving down the highway. Hey, Mercedes, volume 7, and the people on the call are like, "What? What imbecile decided to take the volume controls away from the steering wheel in this car and make it voice activated?" I want them fired from everything they ever do. I want them to be not employed by anybody. It is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in a modern car. It's not as dumb as charging you for heated seats, that's for sure, but it's one of the most stupid things I've ever heard. I don't understand why companies decide to make problems where they don't exist. Thank you, Chad, and welcome back. This is the steering wheel I'm talking about. So on the left and right, you can see there's cruise control, there's a wheel, there's
haptic buttons for days.
Right, haptic buttons, there's call, there's a call button, there's end call. Like there's definitely a lot on this steering wheel. I think what would be a better thing for Mercedes to do is just to declutter the steering wheel and give it physical buttons again, as opposed to all this haptic shit. Not only that, but also there's for sure things on here that aren't needed. And you know where they could house them? In the screen in the center, or as a button on the center console. This is a pun extremely intended here, a very hot button issue with a lot of people, because these companies are taking away all of the buttons and people just prefer them. And I understand for a lot of companies it's expensive to make buttons now. However, your consumers don't want the screens. They don't want voice activated volume control. So now you're making problems where they don't exist. Why don't you just declutter your steering wheel? I can guarantee you each side of that steering wheel, those 4 prongs, fill in the gap between them. You have more space. It will still look elegant. And you can actually just have normal functioning controls there. Like, I don't know, every other car in existence. This is an overly complicated steering wheel. It's an overly complicated solution to a non-existent problem. And it also underlines how Mercedes is going as far as a manufacturer is concerned, where they're over-indexing on technology. They don't need to be doing that. They're Mercedes. They're steeped in history. They are highly luxurious. And voice-activated volume control isn't luxurious. It's just stupid. And quite frankly, if this is the way, not that I'm in the market, but these little things are the things that turn me off to cars as a whole. The screens, no, that I'm not a fan of that at all. It looks awful. And it'll be outdated and obsolete in a year or two at most. Probably even less than that. But the fact that they're doing this, like, makes me not want to buy a Mercedes ever. It's just these small decisions are just it's the dumbest thing. Why? Why do you do this? Stop. You're dumb. Move on. Just stop. And rant. What's your opinion on it?
I think it's fantastic. I can't
What?
wait. I can't wait for the moment when you have to drive one of these things and you call me and I can just go, Mercedes max volume.
Well, it doesn't work that way.
Oh, well, then it's stupid and should be banned immediately.
So the only reason you want to do it is to troll me. I mean,
duh.
Valid. But these cars use the mics to know what's coming in and what's actually in the car. So a valid effort, but I don't think that that's going to work.
Wait a minute. I could work something here. Somewhere hide a speaker in your car that I can somehow access via the internet. Just max volume now, Mercedes. Or Mercedes, enter. Mercedes, set volume to invading Poland.
which is it just starts playing Blitzkrieg Bop as that happens at full volume.
Yeah, just for the thing of like all of a sudden, like people outside, they just hear your stairs, the thump, 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 and you just being like. And then the best part about it is that they won't be to turn it. This is the other thing that's like kind of stupid about this. Say you're rocking out, you're listening to you got the volume up or whatever, and you want to turn it down. How loud do you have to yell for it to hear you to turn it down?
Right, Mercedes. Volume 2!
You're just sitting there, and there's a dude in a Mercedes just like screaming. Look, at the end of the day, we've reached a point with these luxury manufacturers of adding quote unquote luxuries. Their words, not mine. For the sake of it.
Yeah.
For the sake of saying we have this and you don't. You know, like who was it? Was it Mercedes or was it Toyota or whoever? Remember whoever had gesture control?
That was BMW.
Like, so you could just like volume down, volume up.
Yeah, they realized how stupid that was and got rid of it.
You know, that like keep it simple in a day and age when cars are getting more and more expensive. Just keep it simple.
Yes.
Back in the day, the Toyota window switches, all this stuff was the same on Toyota, Lexus, what have you. Mercedes, I get that they don't have necessarily a Toyota version that they can amortize the costs over, but like just I guarantee you, take some of the money out of the gigundous screen. You can still have screens. You can have a normal dashboard and in it have a screen that does everything. Like the Mustang does this really, really well. The Corvette does this really, really well. And everything. And have it that way. Right? So you don't have to spend money on an actual dial and having that sort of stuff. You just have a screen and it's easier to program, yada, 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 boom, 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 right? You can have all of that stuff. Keep it a classic driving experience. Take some of the money you saved by having a freaking IMAX theater for your infotainment system.
Yeah.
And give physical buttons, because I guarantee you at the price point that Mercedes lives at, an extra $500 for physical buttons is something their buyers could not give less of a shit about.
Correct.
You know, so it's just, this is adding luxury for luxury's sake so they can sit here. Like Ferrari said it costs more money to make physical buttons than to use the haptic buttons. Right. But did you make the cars any cheaper? No, you didn't.
Right. Like there's a reason for that.
So your profit margin was hurting, not the consumer. And it applies to Mercedes and all these luxury marks and stuff like that. You know, just keep it simple. Just keep it simple. Yeah, you can have all the bells and whistles. I personally like a digital screen, especially the modern ones.
Yes. Key point of order, though. A digital screen. Not all digital screens. All at once. Not the car. The car is not a digital screen, and that's what we're trending towards. Like, stop that. One screen. That's all we need.
You know, and we got Internet Dude here, and he's apparently getting Gregged, so one could only imagine what that is.
It's definitely, it has everything to do with his devices are failing.
Good work, Greg. Not good work.
Nailed it.
And one demerit for House Gregson.
Good news, bad news.
Wait, that's not good news at all. It's just, I don't know. Like, we're gonna sit here. I saw a post about this, and I don't know if it was something you sent me or something someone else sent me or what have you, but it was the gist of the meme was, it's like, put your cell phone down. That is distracted driving. It's like, okay, let me put my cell phone down and work on this freaking iPad to adjust climate control, radio, volume, all this other
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, that was another thing that I wanted to bring up. Actually, it wasn't a full it wasn't the full like news story, but Mazda came out and said that today, or not today, the other day. I'm trying to. The headline is Mazda claims big touchscreens are actually safer / less distracting than buttons. Wrong. Super wrong. Absolutely not even close to
Because
being
here's the
correct.
thing about physical buttons. You develop
Like a muscle memory to find where they are.
yes.
Right? Yeah.
You develop a muscle memory, and there's a tactile feel to know where you are in space, right? Like,
Yes.
you know, okay, I'm here, boom, volume, or I know here's the knob, boom, like that sort of stuff. It's just, I guarantee you, the company that figures out that, hey, let's keep it simple, and people start like, especially in the luxury car market, because luxury. Here's how I look at luxury, right? Like, first and foremost, the interior has to be made out of nice, I don't want to say rare, but like nice high-end material. So good leather, woods, you know,
Wood.
minimal amount of plastic, but the plastic that's there is solid. You know, it doesn't feel cheap or chintzy or what have you. You know, the center console is laid out in such a fashion that gives a sense that they gave a damn. You know, the knobs and switches have a quality feel to them. You know, I enjoy a screen. You know, I personally, when I was specking out my current Mustang, I specifically wanted a one with the 8 point whatever screen on it. But like, I don't need a 27-inch monitor on vertical for everything in front of me.
Right.
I just don't. And I look, we might be sharing our age, right? Or showing our age with that sort of stuff. And I don't know if it's to appeal to the younger generation, but Mercedes, who in the younger, like their core demographic, the people are going to keep the light, who are buying cars that are keeping the lights on at Mercedes headquarters, are not people who grew up with screens in front of their faces right now.
Right. That's true.
You know? And I just like, that's like, again, like, so the luxury company that figures this out, that gives you, like, not for nothing, but an old school sort of interior with modern tech, to me feels more luxurious than, all right, well, here's your 3.5 foot long Uber screen that shows you every single piece of information that you want. I don't get it. But in any rate, random internet dude dropping the random internet dudeness about the Luce and its production delays. Can't necessarily say that one out loud, but well played. Joe goes, 1990s F-Series heater and AC controls are peak performance. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say go all the way back, but like, there was a sweet spot.
Yeah.
That we've strayed so far away from. And like, and it's all Tesla's fault. Because people were like, ooh, Tesla, it's different. It's got this big thing. And like, probably 6 out of 10 people I've talked to who've owned Teslas say the big screen with it controlling everything from it, including freaking adjusting your mirrors, is something they could do without. It's not a reason they wouldn't buy it again, because Tesla's somewhat of a cult. It's the iPhone of the road.
Yeah. It sure is.
But the reason people thought that was cool and interesting and was like, wow, look at this, was because it was new. It was different. It was, Tesla had no brand legacy or heritage or anything. So they had to be new. They had to be different. They had to put something out there that got people going, huh? Whereas when Mercedes tries to do it, they just come across tacky. It's like the scene, what the fuck was the movie where it's Steve Buscemi and he's like obviously very too old to be in high school, but he's got like a backwards hat on and a skateboard, and he's like, "Hello, fellow kids."
Yes. Hello, or what is up, fellow kids?
You
One
know,
of my all-time favorite memes. Now that I'm over 40, I'm like, I probably use that meme at least once a week now.
oh, when
It's
I
great.
heard Lewis Hamilton won this past weekend in Spain, I immediately put that meme. It's like the Spanish Grand Prix podium. It's that's Hamilton.
No, yeah, it totally is.
You know,
100% it is.
so, but yeah, so that is that. Just real quick, just gonna catch up with chat here real quick. Alicia goes, unpopular opinion, but I like looking at the road when I drive. Novel idea. Just what a crazy out there idea. You should run for public office. Although that amount of logic and reason would probably get you like 3 votes in today's day and age. Internet dude goes, hot take, self-driving cars should never exist. I got something for you. They already do exist. They're called taxis. And he continues, I'm guessing, oh, he said, dude. And he goes, my biggest reason for thinking that is the fact that people who do not like driving cars will buy these self-driving cars and then become total assholes on the road because of it. Are you oh, what the hell is it? What's the Forza Horizon Menace AI?
I don't know. I've never played Forza Horizon.
Forza. It's become a meme in and of itself.
I don't know.
I have to fit. Bowie Knife 99. And the funniest, and the only reason I thought about this with self-driving cars is that the Forza developers used AI used how regular humans, how they drove in the game to train this AI. And it turns out everybody in the game drives like a complete asshole. So this AI drives like a complete menace, ramming people, all this other sort of stuff. It's like,
yes.
But yeah, I mean, there's a couple things to that. I do not think we are ever going to get to a overwhelming majority mass adoption of self-driving vehicles.
No, I don't think so.
I think while it may look at the moment that we're sort of staring over the precipice of it, there is so much that has to go into that, from both a legality standpoint. Like, if your car freaks out and has a glitch and gets in an accident, you got to figure out who's at fault. Is it the owner? Are we treating it like a dog, where if like the dog freaks out and attacks someone, the owner is held liable?
Right.
Are we treating it where it becomes the person who maintains it, i.e. a mechanic? At which point you'll see mom and pop mechanics say, fuck that, we ain't touching them.
Yeah.
Is it the OEM who's at fault? Because maybe it's a glitch in the software.
Interestingly enough, there was a development on that this week as well. The company BYD, very large Chinese EV manufacturer, they said that with their new systems and how advanced that they are getting, anything that happens to crashes during self-driving or whatever their the pilot assist features are, they will be taking responsibility, which quite frankly is how it should be.
Right, but
hear me out.
That's fine and dandy for like the length of time that, let's just say, the vehicle's under its OEM warranty, right?
Yeah.
But hypothetically speaking, 5 years down the road, the warranty has run out. They're now getting the car maintained at,
Joe Schmo's shop,
the BYD service center of Waskataken. A guy, and they figured out that they can cut repair time in half by doing. The internet hates this one simple trick.
Right.
But or not even that, or they're just not training their employees, or there's a lack of training, and they now all of a sudden the people maintaining the vehicle have made a mistake, I get that that's still at a BYD dealership and ultimately it is their responsibility.
Sure.
But hot poll of everybody in chat, how many of you take your car direct to the dealer for service? I don't.
But there's reasoning for that. It's because Sean. If Sean wasn't there, I wouldn't be taking it to the dealer.
Literally have a guy.
Literally, yes. But if that wasn't the case, that's the only reason I'm going to the dealer.
The only reason I go to the dealer is if it's something more than just a regular oil change. My regular mechanic has said, any car you modify, I'm not touching.
Yeah.
Which our family mechanic. And I was like, what if I didn't do the modifying? He's like, no. So as a joke, when the silver Mustang was done, I took it down there and I go, my second alternator's making a funny noise. And I just he goes, what do you mean? And he just looks down and it's the centrifugal supercharger's kind of making its chirpy noises. And he goes, get the fuck out of here.
That's great. I love that.
You know, but yeah, it's just, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, let's see here. Joe goes, the military won't go for that with self-driving nuke carrier. They're going to trust. Well, that's the thing. I mean, I don't want to go down a complete military future weapons sort of rabbit hole. On the one hand, they're doing that. On the other hand, they've just introduced a bunch of, bare bones slightly modified Chevy Colorados as, troop transport in the uncontested areas, right? So instead of having a $1 million vehicle transporting troops to and from, let's just say from a main base to a forward operating base or something like that, or just doing day-to-day tasks, instead of taking these or the woefully outdated Humvees, they use these Colorados, which are fractionally like a tenth of the price. They're still ridiculously expensive when you consider the fact that it's a Colorado with no roof, removable doors, and it's 6 figures. What? Because, government contracting. But yeah, at any rate, let's see here. Alicia does go to the dealership, but does pay dealership prices. Of course, Craig takes it to the dealer. I love how he's just here to troll you. He's like my paid actor. Joe can't afford this dealership. That's kind of the point I'm making, right? Is that dealership, generally speaking, charges you more. And
yes, almost always.
And at some point, a quote unquote here's the thing. I don't think we're going to get to mass adoption of self-driving cars until probably our grandchildren at the absolute earliest. If we ever get there, I still maintain that there probably won't be. It'll be almost like a train in the sense that there's self-driving cars, but on specific routes. So it's like land trains or land public transit. It'll replace buses. And anyway, I don't really feel like talking about self-driving cars anymore. I'm just going to go there. Yeah. Internet dude goes, I already saw Greg's only photo of the car on one of those shorts you posted about your WRX.
Yeah. No, I did not go to the dealer for that.
No, nor did he go to well, you did have to go. Who'd you go to the dealer when the stud sheared itself?
Oh, that I had to, that I took to the dealer because I went to the dealer because the car was under warranty and I'm like, fix this. And they were like, okay. And I think they looked at it and were just like, ooh, yeah, we should fix that and give it to them for free. It's not a warranty on it, but we should probably fix that. And I was like, yeah, I should, because that's a problem on a bunch of WRXs. So yeah, let's make sure that that's fixed, please. Okay, thanks.
And Joe goes on, the AC compressor on a 2012 Honda Odyssey is $1,500 parts at the dealership. It's $400 aftermarket. If you want to kick and see just how much dealers are, or not dealers, but like OEM replacement parts are, just pick, if you own a European car, go on FCP Euro and look at OEM versus OE. And usually the OE stuff is cheaper. And here's the kick in the nards. It's the same exact part.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have the Volvo logo on it or the BMW logo on it or something.
Yeah.
And that sort of stuff. So, at any rate, we're now going to transition from real world consumer advice that may or may not help you on your day to day, but it has a chance, to motorsports, which, let's face it, probably doesn't affect your day to day at all.
Not really.
So there's a few things going into this, but if you don't know, this weekend, the NASCAR trucks, O'Reilly Series, and Cup cars are going to be racing at a street course on Naval Base Coronado, which is in San Diego, which is really, really cool. It's a temporary circuit. Jury's still out on whether or not the circuit is right for the job at hand as far as hosting a NASCAR track. But there's no denying the fact that when you're watching race cars drive around and there's a freaking aircraft carrier in the background, it's pretty badass. The Prime guys are going to be broadcasting the race from the control tower of one of the aircraft carriers, which I think is really, really cool. The downsides is the track's really long, so there is cautions may take longer than people are used to. And there's a sort of worst case scenario of a caution coming out 3 laps before the end of a stage and half hour goes by with no racing. But
not ideal.
Again, to sit here and have a racetrack on a naval base with aircraft carriers and military equipment, fighter jets,
blackjack.
Yeah. Is really, really cool. And the track the track is really interesting because it's pretty rough. It has some sections, so it's not going to be some perfectly smooth race. There may be higher than normal attrition. Internet Dude goes, I think it might be mid for racing. I think there's a chance of that. I think most people going into this have to look at it from the totality of the event and not necessarily whether or not it's going to be perfect for racing. I can almost guarantee freaking to you it's going to be better racing than Monaco, which I know is a very low bar. As long as the passing zones are in fact passing zones. There's also the part of it that makes the road courses something of a, if you're not a fan, as we're about to get into, SVG. And a lot has been made about his dominance on road courses. A lot of people know that he uses heel toe, which means he brakes with his right foot, blips the throttle with his right heel, or rolls his foot onto the throttle to blip it, and clutch it, and uses the clutch on downshifts, where every single other driver in NASCAR they're doing it very quickly, is popping it out of gear, rev matching, popping it into gear without using the clutch, and their left foot braking. And SVG's massive advantage is twofold. He's brilliant under the brakes, and he's brilliant at saving these equipment. And it's down to the fact that he uses heel and toe. And here's the too long didn't read explanation of that. Number one is, so the NASCAR guys who are literally kicking it out of gear, rev matching, and putting it into gear, the only thing that's slipping in that situation is the rear tires. It may be just a little, and you may not even hear it. It may just be literally just a fraction of an inch that it's slipping. But every single time it does that little bit of a slip, it's putting heat through the tire, which these current NASCAR tires don't like. To be fair, most race tires don't like being overheated, but these seem to be more sensitive to that. And obviously you're wearing it out quicker. So that's on the one. And when the SVG's technique using the clutch is slipping that fraction. So the rear tires aren't. So, and these clutches can handle that fraction of a slip. So he's saving his tires just by that technique. He's also using a lot more. He's using a little bit more engine braking, so he can modulate the brake pedal into corners and doesn't have to be as hard on the brakes as, say, some of his rivals. When you combine that with the fact that the Gen 7 car, NASCAR, literally, as part of their research when developing this vehicle, went to Australia and looked at the supercars there. That, like, as part of their development. And there's inspiration with the diffuser, the transaxle, and that. So, put all of that together, and more times than not, SVG is just going to stomp the field. We do have Project 91 is in the race again. That's the 4th Trackhouse car. That's the car that SVG made his debut in. It's going to be driven by Formula F1 driver and current BMW hypercar driver Kevin Magnussen, who once famously told another Formula 1 driver to, let's just say, inhale deeply in the general area of his backup singers. So that should be pretty cool.
Yes.
Let's see here. And then Internet Dude goes, Ford is kind of fizzling out with NASCAR slowly. If there's a world where NASCAR can't have 4 AMs, Dodge replaces Ford at some point.
I could see it.
I can see it. Here's this kind of a tangent. So here's kind of how the 3 OEMs operate. Toyota's at the class of the field right now. Like, there's no denying that. What Toyota does is that they work under the mantra that a rising tide raises all ships. So there's a lot of data sharing. There's a lot of, I don't want to say cooperation, but there's a lot of, okay, Joe Gibbs Racing, you're really, really good. What are you doing? Okay, here you go, Legacy Motorsport. Right? And there's that. The Chevy being much more widely, there's more Chevys than any other type of car in the Cup Series. Chevy does that, but their driver program is a little bit like Toyota does everything. They make the teams work together. They really focus on the engine and bodywork development. And they have a very, very enormous young driver program. You know, where the quote-unquote Chevy hot shoe that everybody's thinking about right now is Corey Day at Hendrick. Well, he's a Hendrick prospect. He's not a Chevy prospect. Whereas, oh God, I can't believe I always forget his name when I'm here. The young Toyota driver who drives the 19 in the O'Reilly series. Greg, you know this, right?
Yes and no, but now it's going to stop me.
As soon as I see it, it's Brent Cruz.
Thank you. Kosovar was in my head, and I'm like, it's not the right "k" sound. It's the other guy. What's his name?
Right. Brent Cruz. Well, it's Carson Hocevar.
That's what I meant.
Brent Cruz is sort of the next in line because Corey Heim just signed with 2311 for next year. But these are all Toyota developmental drivers, right? And there's more drivers in like stuff like the Cars Tour, the late model stuff that Toyota does. One of the most famous ones in development right now is Kevin Harvick's son, Keelan. Yeah, again, Gio Ruggiero, he's another one. He's in the truck series, and then he goes down to ARCA and just owns everyone. But all of these kids are signed on almost in a similar fashion to how like McLaren found Lewis Hamilton and then supported him through karting, lower junior formulas into NASCAR. Chevy does it, but not to the same extent. Ford is like, all right, you've been in the Cup Series for 4 years. You've done pretty good. All right, you're driving a Ford now. That's kind of how Ford does it. And there's been a lot of speculation that they've tapped out the performance on their bodywork, where they have or they haven't. This stuff's really regulated bodywork wise, like a lot. And not for nothing, Ford has the new bodywork coming next year, so we'll see how that goes. So, but Ford doesn't have like a developmental program at all for NASCAR. They don't have drivers in, like I said, doing late models, doing sprint cars, doing modifieds, doing any of that sort of stuff like the other OEMs. So they're spending their money on existing drivers, which okay, fine. But on the flip side, they don't have an O'Reilly's team. They're okay in truck. Actually, they're doing pretty good in truck now that I think about it. They're in ARCA, but ARCA doesn't really require much development because they're old chassis with older bodywork. And yeah, Internet Dude goes, well, honestly, what I'm excited for is the fact that we're seeing a 45-year-old man in his prime right in NASCAR right now. That's the crazy thing. Like Denny Hamlin's success, experience cannot, like in these cars, because the Gen 7 car is so different to literally every other stock car on the planet. Having an experienced driver who knows at this track, I need the car to have grip. Most importantly, in this corner of the car. Or I need it to do this on acceleration. I need it to do this under deceleration. Having that experience is massive. And that's why you see like a Connor Zilic struggling mightily, because this car is so much different than the O'Reilly's car that he dominated in last year. And that kind of ties us into sort of the last motor. I hate these segments because I feel like Greg could just be like, I'll see you guys later.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. I cleared my throat and I forgot to turn my mic back on because I didn't want to like do that in your ear 5 times in a row. No. Keep going because I am listening and I'll have an opinion at the end as to why SVG and others in the past sort of dominate road courses and stuff like that.
Well, before we transition to the final topic of how does SVG take what he does on road courses and get like a significant percentage of that on ovals? I want to hear your thoughts on sort of the road course guys, because believe it or not, SVG is really the only road course ringer, even though he's not a road course ringer, he competes in the full season, to have this level of success on the road courses, right?
Yeah.
Most of your, like when Ron Fellows or the other, who was the guy who was drifting Cadillac at Monticello that one year? Something chat has no idea what I'm talking about, but
yeah, I forget his name.
But like those old road course ringers, they were only in the car once or twice, and they did okay, but they never really won on this level of consistency. But continue.
Yeah, no, it's fun to see them come in. So you had guys like Boris said, was an awesome one, and he came in and he dominated a lot of the road courses. He didn't dominate in the sense of like he won every single one of them, but every single road course he was in, he's in the top 10 because he was a road course guy, and I think he won 1 or 2, I want to say, but. I want to see them do what SVG is doing. I want more of them to come into the series, and I want the road course guys to get the experience, do the ovals, do the full season, and be like, NASCAR is cool in the sense of they do the road courses, their bread and butter is the ovals. They've expanded. Oh, you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. We lost you at expanded.
Oh yeah, they've expanded the amount of road courses they've done over the years. They started with like 1 or 2, then what is it up to now? Like 6?
4.
It's 4. Okay, I've forgotten. But I think that they should I think they should double that and do 8, just because I think the road courses make the season more interesting. It showcases the ability of the cars. It showcases the versatility of the drivers, and it shows the ingenuity of the teams. Because yes, you have different setups for different ovals and things like that, big ovals or rovals or tri-ovals or what have you for like your Talladegas, your Daytonas, blah blah blah. You have your small stuff or your mid-sized stuff, I would say, like Kansas, and then and things like that. And then you have your tiny stuff like Bristol. So like obviously those exist, and you get different setups, different car types, different modifications for each of those. But the road courses then bring in this other level, right? And if you had 8 of those on calendar, that gives a tremendous difference to those that are sort of road specialists, and it gives them more incentive to be in the series, um, in my opinion. So you would get more people like SVG coming in, because 8 of the calendar is a significant chunk of it. It's not insignificant. Not didn't used to be 2. Used to be what was it? It was Watkins Glen and Sears Point. I think that's basically it for a long time.
AKA
And
Sonoma.
Sonoma, exactly, and that was kind of it. And those were great races to go to. Like I've been to Watkins Glen many times. We went with Toyota that one year, which was an absolute blast. But put more on the calendar, get these guys into it. You get more SVGs, because I would argue that since SVG has been in the series, it's been a more exciting product at those 4 tracks specifically. And excuse me. I think that it would give road course people the incentive to do the full season and give them a better shot at potential championship aspirations sooner, as opposed to just being like, oh, you got your 4 races and, oh, you want to do the whole season? Cool, but you got to learn ovals, which they should do, which is what SVG is doing. But I mean, I would love to see more road course specialists in it, more road courses, and just I think it would also make NASCAR just more exciting overall. As far as his driving style, I know you sort of talked about it, but if more people start mimicking his style, or if other road course racers come in and maybe even bring a differentiated style to it, you could see a lot more of the people that are already in the series getting completely new driving styles, in the sense of they start to mimic that. Road courses become even more competitive, and it just brings a whole new level of this is way better to the series.
Well, here's the fun fact. Guys are already trying to do his technique.
Great.
Like, I think Logano was trying it in practice at Watkins Glen. He's like, I can't do this. Kyle Larson has already said, I've tried it in, like, they're trying it in the sim. It's just, they have like a 20 plus year, like SVG's been doing this for 20 plus years, man. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like, it's tough. And I mean, I do think that they need to, I don't necessarily think they need to, because a guy like Connor Zilic, once he kind of figures out the car, and once he figures out the fact that it's not like it, here's where that car is so different from everything he's driven up until this point. An O'Reilly's car, or a Grand National car, as I really wish they would start calling them. You can, if you have like a 7th place car, the driver can sort of make it a 5th or a 4th, or maybe even a winning car by, quote unquote, not necessarily overdriving it, but pushing it beyond just a little bit. That window beyond 100% is a lot greater than it is in a cup car. The cup car, it, without getting overly technical, doesn't have the same amount of side force. And this is more on a speedway or an oval thing, but it doesn't have the same side force generated, meaning not necessarily, side force pushing the car down, but side force sort of, how like when you it's not the same thing, but you remember the old Vortex footballs with the fin on the back, like the long thing, and you could throw it any way you want, and the air would just sort of figure it out, and it would go straight, even if you didn't throw it with a spiral.
Yep.
That those kind of force, so that when when a Grand National car steps out, that side force is kind of hitting the side of the car and helping it not spin out. Obviously, they spin out. It's happened. We see it. It happens almost every week. Um, to where that so like once Connor figures out the car and figures that okay, I have a fifth place car today. I'm gonna drive it to fifth place. I'm not gonna try to get greedy and get more than that or push too hard. I think he's gonna because he's done Trans Am, which is as close to a stock car as you can get on road courses.
Yeah.
He's done that stuff. I did a video on Matthew Payne, who was slated to come over here and race at Sonoma for Childress. But because he drives a Ford and V8 supercars, because the team he's with isn't, and I got to say, I don't necessarily disagree with their denial, but Ford and that team said, nah, man, we already know you're talking to the Chevy team over here while you're still under contract through 2027. But the dude wants to do it. There have been other V8 supercar guys to come over and give NASCAR a butt, as they would call it, a nudge. So I think that's why, that's kind of what I want to see. Bring more of these guys in. And then we'll really know, is SVG just that much of an anomaly? I mean, he won championships over there, so obviously he's really freaking good in whatever he drives, and everything. And that's kind of what I want to see. But it's these guys, and this goes into the next topic as well. But the way NASCAR is currently set up, it is really hard to learn a new technique because they only get 20, 30 minutes of practice. Then they go to qualify, then they race. Testing is strictly limited to tire tests or technical tests hosted by NASCAR, and not everybody goes. So seat time in the actual race car is so ridiculously limited. It's why younger drivers need like a 3-year window in these cars to sort of figure them out. And for teams to sort of figure out, okay, can you do it or can't you do it? Which sucks because you could waste 3 years waiting for a driver to get good. Or it takes 3 years for the driver to get good. Either way, those 3 years, it's like, come on, right? And because points matter, it helps the payouts. It matters when your charter is evaluated and all this sort of stuff. So learning a new technique is almost strictly down to how the sim. And these sims are good, but they're 90, 95%. And as anyone will tell you who's ever built a car, the longest part of the build is the last 10%. The last 5%.
Very much.
So it's going to be stupendously difficult for these guys to learn that technique to a degree to which they can use it to take the fight to SVG. Now, younger drivers coming up through the ranks, I could see it. But is a Denny Hamlin going to do that? No. Joey Logano tried it. No. Kyle Larson, who's arguably the most talented driver in NASCAR from an all things considered standpoint, dude goes and drives sprint cars every week and then hops in whatever rate, he drives everything. So I'm probably one of the biggest SVG fans. I will be 1,000% honest with everyone watching. I had kind of sort of not really paid attention to NASCAR. I'd tune in for the big races. If it was on, I'd watch, but it wasn't really doing it for me. SVG comes along and I'm like, this is pretty interesting. As I've said multiple times, sports car racing is my favorite form of motorsports. Toyota won Le Mans, by the way. And Corvette won the GTD LMGT3 class. So, and anyway, but SVG came in because I knew SVG because he did quote unquote the lap of the gods too at Bathurst in a McLaren for the 1,000 or for the 12 hour. So I was like, oh, this is cool. He's driving. That's awesome. I watched the Chicago race. I'll go watch this. Now I'm a fan of him and I'm tuning in every week. That's pretty big. That got me back into NASCAR. Just real quick before I want to go into what how he improves and gets better. Joe goes, I want a dedicated American road course series like the supercars in Australia. And of course, chat just refreshed and I lost it. he gets bored with speedways. Yeah, if you're not, I equate super speedway racing in NASCAR to watching baseball. There is a nuance to it that you either want to know, or like it just looks too simple. Like, right? Like, and I get it. I'm not going to sit here and say, no, man, you should really sit there and look and figure out air, figure outside. Like, nah, I get it. We're road racing from a viewer perspective. You kind of have a slightly better idea.
Yeah.
Also, but if you're into American racing and you want to see sort of that tube frame chassis, road course, big screaming V8, the Trans Am series is still around. They're gaining momentum, and they have 2 classes. It's pretty epic racing. They sound epic. Internet Dude says, look at IMSA. He's talking road courses. Joe is Sears Point, Laguna Seca, Portland. Stop refreshing chat. Portland International Raceway. The Grand National Cars race there is a bit of a dumpster fire. It's not the most ideal suited circuit for that, but it is a good circuit in general. The Glen, the street course in Chicago, Seattle, Las Vegas. Chicago street course is probably Internet Dude goes, Chicago street course is probably a NASCAR exclusive. A little bit. Las Vegas is probably a Formula One. There's all that sort of stuff that goes into it. It's also shutting down a major portion of a city for an entire week or two, or maybe even 3-4 weeks, while you build, dismantle, host the races, dismantle, and get back to that.
It's a lot.
So it's a lot, and it probably costs a chunk. So doing it twice a year, probably, I don't know, if you're in a city that's like, hey, we need funding for, this actual important thing. Why are you spending so much money on racing? I get it. Nor would Formula One ever share a weekend with any form of American motorsport that isn't a Porsche Cup Series.
Yeah.
It's just the way the Formula One is. The thing I found weird about Le Mans was the fact they used the Corvette logo instead of the Chevy logo. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. They've always kind of done that instead of the Chevy logo. I guess because it's integrated into the Corvette logo. Don't know, but it is. They've been doing that for a long time. Ever since like sort of the C5R days, they've been doing that. At any rate,
yeah.
The last bit of motorsport stuff I wanted to touch on was, we know SVG dominates on road courses. We know he's getting better on ovals, but they seem to lay an egg every now and again. Like last week. So it's like, what does he need to do to be a contender? Because obviously the chunk of the schedule is ovals. And there are varieties of them. You have super speedways like Daytona, Talladega. You have a drafting track like Atlanta. You have intermediate tracks, which are like anywhere between 1.5 miles and 2 miles like Michigan. You have short tracks, right? If he can't sort of figure it out, he's going to rack up road course wins, but he never really going to contend for a championship. However, again, he's improving, but there are some things holding him back. Number one, this is his second year. We forget, because of how dominant and how quickly he is progressing, how he's a very young driver in terms of NASCAR Cup car experience. Whereas you have a guy like Denny Hamlin who's been doing it for over 20 years. Or even guys, he's got a big deficit. Where all the normal NASCAR guys have a huge deficit to learn his techniques on road courses, he has a huge deficit on the other tracks. The other part of that is, and I saw a post here and people were talking about SVG going to a new team, finding a new team. Trackhouse isn't it. They're not getting the job done. SVG needs to go to someplace like Hendrick or Gibbs or whatever. And there's a couple things in that equation. Number one, the big teams, Joe Gibbs Racing, 2311, Hendrick, and Spire. I say those are the big four at the moment because JGR and 2311 have a technical alliance. It's literally like one gigantic 7-car team. Like they go to the same meetings. It's just 2311 has their shop, Joe Gibbs has their shop, but it's like one giant team. It's the same thing with Hendrick and Spire. Trackhouse doesn't have that affiliation to a quote-unquote top team. However, there's a new bodywork on the Camaros that everybody in a Chevy camp has struggled with. Now you have the fact that you're not working the manufacturers give all the body data, the data and stuff, so like they share it, they help each other out, but they're not working hand in hand with a Hendrick, so to speak. So that's one part of it. So their learning curve on the body is going to be a little bit longer than a Hendrick or even a Spire. We've seen Spire just do this year. Suarez won a race. Hocevar won a race. McDowell was second at Watkins Glen. They're on the up. But the other thing that plays into that is people are shitting on Trackhouse, but what they don't understand is that Ross Chastain is the only seasoned veteran on that team in terms of NASCAR Cup driving. So when I was talking about Denny being so dominant before and how he has a mental notebook on what a car needs to feel like, he doesn't look at the timing sheets. He just goes, if the car feels like this, we're going to be fast at this racetrack. And I got to say, the technique's been working because he's won 3 in a row. And he won the All-Star race. So that's 4 out of the last 5 Cup races. SVG doesn't have that notebook. He's building that notebook. He's learning that notebook. But he doesn't have it fully. And then he has Connor, who is like, just, this is new and foreign. I mean, his notebook's only a couple pages, if you catch my meaning. So it's really falling on, it's like Chastain, okay, here's the direction. SVG's like, okay, I kind of like it like this. And Connor's there like, I just don't want to spin out in the first 10 laps. I'm going to need you to give me around 4 minutes, internet dude, looking at a video titled My Frog Beats Stereo Madness. I don't blame you. So when you have all these factors in, Trackhouse has very good people there. Justin Marks is no dummy. He's also going to be driving a truck at San Diego, in case anyone was wondering. They have really good people there. They know what they're doing. It's just the feedback they're getting. And this is nothing against the drivers. They're just not getting, the drivers don't have enough experience to know what they're looking for. So they're just kind of going off what's working off of the stopwatch, which is kind of doing things backwards, which puts them kind of on the back foot because, again, they only practice for like 30 minutes. All of this major setup work is done on the sim, which, like we said, is a good approximation. It's not a 1-to-1. So then they go out for qualifying, and the way they do qualifying at the moment is kind of dumb, but again, conversation for another day. And then they don't qualify well. They're at a disadvantage because they go out and they have, like SVG doesn't have greatest results on. Basically, your results from the prior week determining your qualifying order, regardless of how well you did in practice, etc., or what have you. And the guys who go out early in qualifying are almost there cleaning the track off. So with every car that goes on the track is getting more grip. So if you're early in qualifying, even if you have a B+ car, you might have a C qualifying because of it. So and that leads me to the last thing. If SVG wants to be better on these ovals, as we saw when qualifying was rained out and he was going solely off of his performance at Watkins Glen, at Charlotte and Nashville, once he was up front, he stayed there, which is a huge advantage in these cars. Being back in the pack, the crew chiefs have said this multiple times. We don't know what the hell to do because just the air is so bad that any real big adjustment, the second you get towards the front, the car's going to fall flat on its face.
Yeah.
That's how aerosensitive these cars are. So qualifying better, getting up front, building the notebook, giving his guys better things to start with, are all things he's going to have to kind of go through. And this notion that he can go to another team, well, I got news for you. The 48 car, that's the most talked about seat in NASCAR right now. Alex Bowman had some health issues this year. His performances haven't been stellar. He might be on the way out. Connor Zilic is the Trackhouse guy who's linked to that the most. Dude is under contract. Have to be bought out. The other gun is Corey Day. Corey Day? Is it Corey Day or...
It's Corey Day.
Corey Day. Nailed it. He's a young up-and-comer in the Hendrick pipeline that we were talking about. But the dude, this is his first full season on asphalt. He was tabbed as a guy. He was tabbed by Kyle Larson, who famously came from sprint cars on dirt.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, that kid's got the talent. We need to get him in a stock car as soon as possible. He can be the next me, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But the dude needs time. Everybody says you need about 2 years in an O'Reilly's car just to learn the racecraft, just to learn, even though the cars are very dissimilar, you need to learn how to do live pit stops. You need to learn restarts. You need to learn the basic rules. Again, racecraft, how to drive in a pack, how to side draft, all this stuff. So at the very least, he's 2028. And I maintain in that particular situation that Alex Bowman's going to get a 1-year contract, and then they're going to see. If Connor figures it out in 27, they may offer him a contract. If Corey's ready, he's going to get that seat. But like every seat that's worth having, that's quote unquote better than Trackhouse, is filled, is spoken for. Someone is in a pipeline. Forget about driving a Toyota. They have a pipeline that's, longer than Greg's car. So
It's long.
And again, Trackhouse has talented people. Give it time. They will get there. It's just going to take a year or two.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that. I mean, for SVG, for him specifically, it's just a matter of experience and time. And the more he does of it, then the better it's going to be. Sim time, actual real race time. I think a good comparison would be Juan Montoya.
I thought
when he came over from F1, because he very much has a similar trajectory to SVG in that sense. Really good on road courses, good on small tracks too. Montoya didn't really get the big super speedways down until midway towards the end of his career, where he was very good at them. He was genuinely up front most of the time. Always top 10, always top 15.
Here's the thing. The best ovals, SVG's best ovals, in my estimation, are the super speedways.
Which is interesting. It's sort of the reverse of how Montoya was.
And the short tracks. There's a lot of things. You would think the short tracks, because it involves braking, some of them involve shifting, that it would sort of favor a road course guy.
Mm-hmm.
But the way those tracks are driven is so different than how they would do. Like, let's just say there was a big sweeping, let's just say turn 1 and 2 in Bristol was a 180 on a road course. The way they drive that corner and the way that corner evolves is so different to the way you would attack it as a road course racer. It's pretty interesting, and not for nothing, like surface matters, like concrete versus asphalt. But in any way, I just wanted to mention that
you're right though. Like, for driver, it's learning setups, it's learning racecraft, it's just experience and seat time is going to be what SVG needs. The team, just again, it's sort of the same thing, like learning the ropes, learning more of the builds. The more they do it, the better they're going to be at it. It's just,
he's too talented not to be doing a certain form of motorsport for a certain amount of time to not sort of get it. I think he's also getting to a point where he's comfortable enough on the track, and now he's, I don't want to say pressing, but he feels like I'm good enough. That's a bad way of saying it. I'm not saying he feels like I'm good enough, I should be up front but like his qualifying's putting him on the back foot. So I think there's an element of him driving overly aggressive to try to make it up
Mm-hmm.
because his race cars are better than his qualifying cars.
Yeah.
It's just these qualifying woes put him in such a bad position that instead of, but on the flip side, let's look at this, right? 3 weeks ago, Denny Hamlin starting on the pole position at Nashville. Jumps the start more than anyone I've ever seen in my entire life. Goes to the back, wins the race. Go to Michigan. Denny Hamlin wins the pole. There's damage to his car. They have to fix it. Goes to the back of the pack. Wins the race by freaking 11 seconds. So, like, I'm not going to sit here and say SVG is pressing, but I think there is an element of my car's better than this stupid position I'm in right now. And not always, but like we saw it at Pocono where he got up against the 21. He went a little too deep into the corner trying to get a position. And yeah, that's part of that's experience, but I'm not saying he's driving dirty, but he has made some aggressive. I'm here for the aggressive moves. That's what NASCAR's about. Rubbin's racing. Like, if you don't like a guy dive bombing you or sending it on the inside or whatever, it's NASCAR. You can do something about it. This isn't Formula One,
Right.
where if you lightly graze an opponent's car, you get a penalty.
Right.
So, but it's going to be very interesting to see. I think he's going to have a pretty steep trajectory. I think, here's the thing, like I mentioned before with the rookies, 3 years to learn the car. Yeah, Joe, anytime I hear Montoya's name, I think of the swordsman. As you wish.
Yeah.
You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Yeah.
You know, I think next year is I think the tail end of this year, the chase is going to be telling because that's where a lot of his strides last year showed up, or his improvement showed up. But I think next year is going to be extremely telling, because it's that third year. He'll be going to tracks for multiple times now, and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
At any rate, unless you had anything you wanted to add.
Go USA in the World Cup.
Hooray.
Other than that, I got nothing.
What a soft sport. Oh, no, there's a glare in Cowboy Stadium. We need tinted windows.
The NHL would never.
NHL is like, see these spotlights? Right in the goalie's face.
That's right. We're going to make it harder.
We're going to give you involuntary LASIK as you play. All right, later, dude. Literally. Wow, that worked out.
Later, yeah.
At any rate, that's going to be a
Literally.
wrap. That's going to be a wrap on the show for this this week. Thank you to everyone who commented. I just saw the notification come across my desk. I don't know if you're in here, but thank you to K. Johnny Van Meteren. It's a mouthful, but thank you so much for becoming a supporter. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
That's going to be a wrap for this show. And as always, Greg's going to send us out with the dad advice of the week.
Yes. The dad advice of the week for this week is to enjoy the summer, because it's now, well, it's not technically summer yet. I think we got like a couple of days, but school's out, weather's nice. Go grill something. Go do good summer stuff. Go to the beach, go to the pool, go take a nice drive with the windows down and listen to your car, grill something. Go sit on the back deck. You got an Adirondack chair? Go lounge in it. You deserve it. You earned it. It's been a long ass winter. It's not great. The spring didn't even exist. At least here in Jersey, there was no spring. Basically went from 40 degrees to 90 overnight. The only spring we've had here has been the last like 4 days. It's been actually kind of nice. But now that it's nice out, go do nice weather stuff. Get out. Don't sit in your house. Go take a drive And it's not necessarily dad advice, but I guess it's more of just advice for, you know, getting off of your keister and actually enjoying what is a pretty crazy 2026 so far. So put some stuff behind you, get out there and just have a good time.
Yep. Hey, let's face it. When we were kids, what did we all look forward to?
Summer break. That's right.
You owe me a Coke. You know, but on that note, thank you again to everyone. How dare you go out to tell me to touch grass? Yeah. I don't even care if you
touch grass.
I don't even care if you touch grass. Just go out and breathe untreated air.
Yes.
And anyway,
whatever you want.
We will see everyone back here next week. Until then, thank